What's up, Painless Flipping podcast listeners? Before we dive into today's episode, I've got something special for you. Recently, I had the pleasure of joining an amazing podcast, and I wanted to share that conversation with you all. It's a fantastic discussion you won't want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump into that crossover episode and hear what we had to say. Enjoy.
Hey, Sub2ers, welcome to this episode of the Sub2Deals Show, where we talk about all things subject to and creative finance. Occasionally, we'll talk about other real estate investing topics, but it's always something to help you with your real estate investing business. If you're listening to our podcast, we'd like to invite you to watch our podcast. We're Uptown Video now, and you can check us out on our YouTube channel at sub2tv.com. If you want to learn more about creative financing and the magical force that it is, check us out at sub2university.com. We've got all kinds of coaching and products to help you get started in your real estate investing business. And if you're looking for the absolute best, lowest cost coaching on creative finance on the planet, check us out at $7coaching.com. I'll answer all your questions personally, teach you how to buy and sell using creative finance. And listen, if you find a better price on that kind of training anywhere on the planet, let me know. I'd like to know about it and check it out myself. Guys, today we're talking about wholesaling. You know, a lot of investors actually get their start with wholesaling. Buying properties and flipping them quickly and making money. You can get started without any money. And it's just a lot simpler. So we're going to bring an expert on today to talk to us about that and tell us if this strategy is still a good thing to be doing in this market. So, hey, Nathan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, William?
Doing fantastic. Nathan is a wholesaler, teaches wholesaling at investorthrive.com. And he's going to spend a few minutes here with us today talking about wholesaling, how it's changed over the last several months, and if you can still make money doing it today. So Nathan, tell everybody, introduce yourself, tell everybody about you and what you do.
Yeah, you got it. So my name is Nathan Payne. I've been wholesaling for about 4 years now. And the market shift happening has impacted wholesalers a little bit. Over the last 2 years, you could pretty much sell anything because the inventory is really low. But now the inventory, there's more, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit harder to wholesale. So that's why what I'm showing people to do is what's called reverse wholesaling, or painless wholesaling, as I call it. Mm-hmm. Just having your buyer in place before you start marketing and looking for deals, just so you're not wasting your time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, you know, we may have some people listening today, Nathan, who aren't familiar with wholesaling. Tell everybody, what is wholesaling exactly?
Yeah. So wholesaling, just in simple terms, is you find a deal. You just find a deal, like let's say $200,000, and you sign an agreement to purchase that home for cash. And instead of you closing on it or ever taking title or buying it, you assign your rights to that property to someone else for a fee. So if I want to wholesale my deal to you, I have it at $200,000 and I sign it to you for $220,000, William, $220,000, I'll make $20K, a $20K wholesale fee. So without even having to put any money, all I did was I found the deal. Now, some people might be like, well, that's probably easy. Well, that's where the skill comes in to the wholesaling. You got to find a deal. You got to find a highly discounted deal. So that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know, especially over the last few years, because I've been doing this. I bought my first house in 1999. I've been doing it for a little while. But when I got started, things have changed a lot. A lot of states have brought laws in where you almost have to be a realtor to do wholesaling, things like that. How do you operate? I mean, are you a realtor? Do you recommend that most people that want to wholesale become one? How do you deal with that?
No, I'm not an agent. And you don't, in some states, you have to be licensed, right? Or they're trying to crack down on that. But I'm not an agent. You do not have to have a license to do it. I think they're starting to do it in Oklahoma. You have to be licensed in Chicago, but pretty much other than those areas, as I'm aware of, you don't need a license to do it.
Right. Now, you had mentioned, I know when we're recording this today in November of 2022, we've just come off of 2 years of just the wildest ride in real estate that I've experienced in my 23 years. Rapid appreciation. I mean, you can literally buy a house today for one price and it immediately goes up in value. Wholesaling's been like shooting in a barrel. but how has that changed, and how has that changed how you do business?
How has it changed how I do business? I would just say like, um, will you repeat that one more time?
Well, what I was saying was the last couple of years have been, almost it's been almost a gimme. You can get a house under contract literally and sell it 90 days later. People
Right,
the overappraised value. I mean, I just spent 6 months in Florida, and even for
right,
retail buyers, banks were waiving appraisals. Literally, if someone was asking $500,000 for a house and you wanted it desperately, you could say, "Listen, I'll pay 600,000 for it," and you didn't even have to get an appraisal. The bank would just give you the loan, and you could go buy it. But things have changed now. How
yeah.
have you changed your business model with wholesaling to still be able to move properties and make money?
That's a great question, and I mean, it has been very easy to wholesale over the last 2 years, but now it's a little
Mhm.
bit more difficult. So that's why I kind of tell people, like, the buyers right now are being a lot less. They're being a lot stingier on what they buy, right? So you have to
Right.
find out what buyers are buying, so you can bring them deals, because you can't
Mhm.
just take anything off the streets, any random deal right
Mhm.
now and just move it, because again, the flippers that are buying it for you, they need to make money. So if they
Mhm.
don't buy it at a deal, at a price that makes sense, they're not going to do it.
Right. I got you. Okay.
So
So,
buyers are the key, pretty much.
right. So I guess your business model is to make sure you have a lengthy list of ready cash buyers to come in and take your deals. So, uh, tell us how you do that. How do you make sure, what's your process? How do you make sure that if you get this house under contract, you're going to be able to flip it to someone else?
Yeah, so in the past, like sending it out to a lengthy list was kind of the process. You
Hmm.
knew you had a great deal. You had people that wanted your property, so you could send it out to 1,000 people, for example, and you'd have a bidding war. Right now, you can send it out to 1,000 people, but those people that are buying might not be interested, or they're sitting on the sidelines. So what I do is I get 10 to 15 strong buyers that I know are currently buying, and then I work with them specifically. So I don't trying to do the whole process of reaching out to tons of people. I just make a couple phone calls, and if my guys don't want it, it's probably not a deal.
Mhm. Okay. So you need to have a good idea about what values are. You just can't run out and start getting houses under contract. You need to know
Exactly.
that you've got a deal that's worthwhile. Now the margins, over the past couple of years, like I said, people would get a house under contract for full price and still somehow flip this thing and make money. What is for years and years when I got started, the old time guys like Ron LeGrand, they had a specific formula, and your offer price was 70% of market value minus repairs needed minus your
Hmm.
profit for the
Hmm.
flip. And during
Right.
COVID, that stuff just went out the window. I've
Yeah.
seen wholesalers pay almost 100% of market value and still make a profit. So,
Yep.
what do your numbers look like today? What do you
Yeah. So
operate?
what flippers usually want to make right now about 15 to 20% of the net AR. Sorry, if the ARV, they want to take the ARV and get 15 to 20%, and that will be their net profit. So, for
Mhm.
example, let's say $400,000 is what the house is worth, fixed up ARV. They
Mhm.
want to make 15 to 20% of that for
Right.
that to be their profit after the flip
Mhm.
is over. So what
Mhm.
would that be? It's going to be like maybe $60,000 to $80,000. If
Yeah.
they're not making that much profit off of that flip after expenses, whole time, they're not going to do the deal.
Mhm. Okay. So let's just take those numbers. A $400,000 house, let's just say that let's split the difference. Let's say that they're looking to make $70,000 off of this thing, and it
Hmm.
needs $100,000 in repairs. Okay. So that takes
Yeah,
us down to what, 230 is what you could pay for the
yeah,
house. And
yeah.
that
But you
doesn't
also need
account
to have
for
your
your
wholesale fee,
profit.
right?
Right.
Right,
So
right.
on,
So
on a
you probably need
400,000,
about
I mean,
around. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, do you have a number that you like to make per property? Or is it a percentage? How do you
We,
calculate that?
we try to usually just clear 15, do around
Mhm.
15,000.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you would be looking at maybe being able to pay 200, 205 for this house, basically half of ARV to make those numbers work in that case.
Yeah, and that's usually how it is. So that's why
Right.
I think wholesaling is good, but I don't teach people that's your only exit strategy. I say you need to have
Mhm.
all the tools in your tool belt, which is
Right.
why I think it's great that we're working together.
Mhm.
You need to be able to, do creative deals. You need to be able to do wholesale deals. You need to just be able to fix and flip. You need to be able to do it
Right.
all so you're not throwing away leads.
Mhm. What do you think about wholesalers that get properties under contract without the means to close and then can't find a buyer? Where do you go then? Well, I mean, what's if I'm a wholesaler and I have crappy credit, no money,
Right.
and I'm new, so I probably don't have access to a lot of money, and I continue
Yeah.
to get houses under contract. What can I do if I don't have a buyer? What's the right way to get out of that
Well,
deal?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of wholesalers do that. They just get deals
Mhm.
and they don't know how to move them, and then they just have to cancel the contract. So that's
Right.
unfortunately that's what they do. But that's why the reverse wholesaling model I'm telling you about, the reverse wholesaling model I'm telling you about is the best model, right? Because you
Right.
already know you have a buyer in place.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So tell me, if I want to get started doing this, Nathan, what do I need to do? What's the best way for me as a new investor to go find real buyers?
Yeah, so there's many different ways. Like for example, let's say foreclosures, they're going to start increasing over the next couple
Mhm.
months.
Right.
Go to a foreclosures auction. Those people have money because to
Mhm.
buy foreclosure, they have to have cash, right? They have to come there with a cashier's check and say, "Hey, I'm ready to
Mhm.
buy this." So go there and just say, "Hey, look, I find discounted deals all the time. Who's buying?
Right.
Are you guys buying? What can I do?" That's one option, right? There's so
Mhm.
many
Right.
different ways. You can call title companies and say, "Hey, who's has cash and is closing still? I can bring you more business." Call hard money lenders, say, "Who's still borrowing hard money? I'll bring you them deals and bring you business." You can use different softwares like Batch Leads, PropStream, whatever, to pull buyers and then call them, and then the list goes on and on. And then
Mhm.
you just got to put in a little bit of work.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So you can use tools that cost money, but you also have ways to find people like just calling a title company or calling a real estate agent that works with investors or going to the auction. That's true. We just went to the auction here. We're actually in
Hmm.
Arkansas right now, and there were two people bidding for cash. So those would be two definite people you'd want to give your card to, get their card, say, hey, I get stuff all the time. Should I call you? But the process on that would be you meet these guys, you interview them, sort of find out what their preferences are, beds, baths, parts of town,
Right.
and then that's where you focus your efforts, it sounds like, in buying.
Exactly. That's the way to do it, and that's how it was done for
Mhm.
a long time. Then because of the last years in high appreciation, that kind of went out the window, and
Right,
people just started sending it to everybody and trying to get bidding
right,
wars going on. So
right. Yeah. It sounds like, everybody was getting into real estate. It happens every time. During high markets, there are three realtors for every man, woman, and child in the United States. The same thing with wholesalers. Everybody rushes into real estate, and now a bunch of people are getting out of it. They say you can't make
right.
any money anymore. But if you know what to do and how to shift with the market, you still can.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned a couple of tools earlier that you use in your business. What would you say are must-have tools for a wholesaler today to really compete?
I would just say a service where you can skip trace and pull lists because
Mhm.
that's kind of what's needed. And other than
Mhm.
that, like you can use your own phone, you can use you can text from your phone. Like if you want to like scale this out and hit a ton of people, there's definitely tons of services. But I use Batch Leads. That's what I'd
Right.
recommend. Batch Leads is
Okay.
a great service that I use.
Okay. So how do you, once you've got your buyers in place, what do
Mhm.
you recommend as a method to go out there and actually find deals? Wholesalers have a reputation for text blasting thousands of
Mm,
people every
right.
day, and you guys have sort of gotten a bad reputation. There's all kind of legislation happening now about texting,
Right.
I think, as a
That's true.
result of that. So what is your preferred method to find sellers?
I personally like JVing, and
Mhm.
joint venturing is when you work with other people who have gone out and found a deal and you bring them a buyer. But that's one way. I also, pay per click is a good way, like getting
Mhm.
leads from online, that you're paying for advertisements, and
Right.
cold calling is good too. If you
Mhm.
call a list of motivated sellers, but you got to go really niche with it, because if you start pulling giant lists, it's going to get very
Right.
expensive. So you got to go niche.
Right. Okay. And when you say that, everybody that listens that's just getting started, they don't really understand what you're talking about. When you say you got to go niche, what do you mean?
hmm Yeah, so instead of pulling a list of absentee owners all throughout the state of Utah and calling them, you got to, you got to list stack. You got to go, okay, 50% equity of absentee owners that are over the age of 50. So
Mhm.
the list gets smaller and smaller in this county, in Salt Lake County,
Mhm.
right? So now, instead of just taking everyone that owns a rental in the state of Utah, you've narrowed it down to people who are that are landlords that are above 50, that have a lot of equity, that are in one county. That's what
Mhm.
I kind of mean. You just got to go and target specific areas to what your buyers want, so you don't find a property and you finally get one and it's in the middle of nowhere and you're like, dang, they want to sell and they're motivated, but no one wants to buy this thing.
Right. And I know historically wholesalers generally, since they're buying at such a deep discount, they generally have to talk to a lot more sellers than we do as creative guys.
Right.
So, you guys, and I know you guys run into a lot of people that can't sell at a discount because they owe too much. They're still highly motivated. Maybe they've got a job transfer, they get a divorce, they're in foreclosure,
Right.
and that's where a good partnership opportunity is for creative people to partner with wholesalers that are talking to all these leads that become dead leads. Do you work with
Yeah.
creative finance people and sell those leads, or work with them
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah. So I know how to do creative financing, from
Hmm.
subject to contract for deed
Right.
to seller financing, where they own their mortgage on the property.
Hmm.
I know how to do that, but for people that are probably in my community that don't, we're trying to teach them. And if they don't, then obviously they can partner with someone that does. Just kind of like they partner
Right.
with me to find a buyer, they can partner with someone to help them structure their deal.
Right. I know over the past few years, we've started seeing a lot of wholesale real estate people come into our coaching programs because they
Right.
wanted to learn, how do you guys make money with these no equity and low equity deals? It's like
Right.
they've been throwing away these leads for years, and we make a ton of money with that stuff. So they were trying to figure it out, but it sounds like a lot of
There you
you
go.
know a lot of wholesalers really just do everything now. They filter for the wholesale
Yeah.
deals. The ones that don't work, they put them in this pile and they just turn them into something creative.
Exactly. And that's
Because
what I teach. I say, don't just do that. Yeah, I teach
mhm,
that.
wholesaling is so transactional. The reason that I wasn't attracted to it when I got started was because it felt like a job, a high paid job, but still a job. You know,
It is a job. It is a
right?
job. And
So,
when I teach people, I say, look, your goal is not to own a whole business that is transactional and just does deal
mhm,
after deal after deal. It's something that will help you get into the business, but it shouldn't be the end goal.
mhm, right. You can wholesale a bunch of deals, cherry pick the creative ones with little or no equity, and turn those into cash flow and things. So if you want to take a break from work, you can.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So, Nathan, I know you also teach what you do. How can anyone listening learn more about what you teach and how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty accessible. Like, if you go to my Facebook group, it's just Painless Wholesaling Group. You can reach out to me at investorthrive.com that you got there. Also, you can
Mhm.
reach out. I have my phone number pretty much on all platforms. I have a YouTube channel, Nathan Payne.
Mhm.
In pretty much, I put my phone number out there. You can DM me on pretty much any platform, and I'll be able to reach out, or my team will reach out. And I'd love to help anyone that wants to get into this, or to point them in the right direction. If I'm not
Right.
the best fit for you to work with you, I'll point you to William. If he's not the best fit for you, I'm sure he'll point you to someone else. Like,
Mhm.
it's all about the win-win scenario and helping you guys, anyone get what they need, what they want, where they want to go. I mean, we're not
Right.
here to force anyone to do anything. If we're just here
Mhm.
to kind of be a resource if they need it.
Exactly. And I know you also have a mind map that is pretty. Uh, it's just got a ton of resources on it, and I'm sharing that here with
Right.
everybody too. You guys can go to
Thank you.
sub2deals.com/Nathan, and you can download his mind map, which has got over 50 ways to find buyers, find sellers, and the resources, contracts, and other stuff that you need to do.
I did all that because I wanted to have the process written out for my business and it out of my mind and for my VAs that do the business with me. And then I said, you know what, I might as well just give all this away, right? Or at least give people the process to do this business.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's almost like a course. You guys go and download that and make contact with Nathan. You can get that mind map at sub2deals.com /Nathan.
Right.
And you can also contact him at his website, investorthrive.com, or at his Facebook group, which is Painless Wholesaling.
That's right. Painless Wholesaling Facebook group. Just Painless Wholesaling group. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, Nathan, any final thoughts for anybody out there that may be interested in wholesaling or learning more from you?
No, I would just tell anybody that's trying to get into wholesaling that it's not easy. I think people get into real estate. I talk to a lot of people like, I need my job and this is going to sustain me. Like, hey, you know, it can and it will if you work hard, but don't think you're coming in here to something very passive. Wholesaling is not passive. It's the opposite of passive. It's active. And once you, the goal is to share those deals you want to make passive, right? As rentals or, you know, as you come across sellers, low equity or good creative finance deal. That's kind of like the bonus of it. You get to pick and choose, but don't come. I'm just being straight. I want people to come in and, hey, wow, this is the greatest thing ever. It doesn't cost any money. Well, I mean, it costs a lot of your time. And, you know, if you want to scale it out to a real business, it does cost money because you got to market. So I'm not like those other people online that are just like, oh yeah, it's the easiest thing. It's not. Real estate takes a lot of time, effort, knowledge. And, you know, but if you're willing to put it in, you'll succeed.
Yeah, that's true. You know, work is a dirty word. Nobody likes to talk about that. In fact, the coaching courses for coaching tell you there's certain keywords you aren't supposed to use: study, learn, or work. Those things turn people off.
Right.
But the fact is, what we do when we got started, you know, it wasn't super simple. We had to learn how to do it, and of course, we reap the results, you know, of that work today. So yeah,
100%, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Nathan, for being here today. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you sharing with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Always a pleasure, William. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Okay, guys, that is it for this episode of the Sub2Deals Show. Again, check us out at our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. We release new videos almost every single day on creative finance and just all aspects of real estate investing. Remember that you can get Nathan's mind map at sub2deals.com /Nathan, almost a full course on wholesaling. And that thing is absolutely free for you. So guys, thanks for being with us. Remember, get out there, talk to some sellers, and buy some houses.